Good morning, it's morning still. We have a fantastic panel in the sense that we have various industries represented here. We have the real estate industry, which is in flux after RERA or even before RERA. We have the logistics and transportation industry, which is seeing a new spur to growth. We have the farm equipment sector, which in some way mirrors the agriculture economy, which needs to grow better than it is right now. We have the industrial economy represented by Himanshu. And last but not the least, we have the services sector represented in some way by Kavinder. So we have a panel which in some way represents every part of our GDP. So I'm delighted to be speaking after my friend Ninad, who I met 20 years back. He's in my second job and used to be a client of mine. Also, this is a fantastic audience. We have promoters of businesses like Mr. Jindal here. We have Mr. Sarna, who manages Taj, Ninad, who runs AppTech, many other friends from the industry. The way we are going to do it is, Mr. Potter talked about strategy is what you don't do. And it is the trade-off between, in some way, operational efficiencies and the future. And that's my interpretation. I would like a quick comment starting from you, Mr. Revankar, on what are the strategic trade-offs that you are dealing with right now?
Basically, I would like to tell that we are in financial services, not exactly in logistics. So we lend to vehicles, basically owner-operator vehicles. Now the strategy, if you look at the way we have developed our business model, we have focused on financing individuals who are owner-operators. And past 40 years, we have been consistent with that. And people who are buying vehicle for the first time, we have been focusing. Now, if you look at the way the world is moving on, everybody feels that now individuals cannot own the vehicle because vehicles are becoming costlier and costlier. And now I heard Mr. Porter talking about Pakar is really charging 10% more on customized trucks. So I feel that every business has a particular opportunity to grow and build. And especially India being such a vast country gives a huge opportunity to build the business. And one thing what we have done very consistently is trying to have a strong culture in the organization. So a strong culture gives some kind of a certainty in how to deal with the uncertainty. So a strong culture and also sticking on to your customer, not to changing your business model very often. When you stick on to your customer, when you get a lot of loyalty, and if you're able to grow the customer from a 2 lakh loan taker to, if he can grow to a 1 crore loan taker, over the period by consistently growing in his business, and if you are able to match his expectation, then we are consistently with him. So being very consistent in what you provide as a value proposition for the customer and also trying to retain company's culture, that gives you a lot of leeway in managing. And I feel India is a huge country and growing at 7 or 8%, or desirably at 10% we need, but we have a huge opportunity to grow and keep going without really trying to do something very different.
Thank you, Mr. Revankar. You're basically saying that consistency as a business partner and retaining the culture is your competitive advantage, so to say. That's what I hear. Coming to you, Mohit, real estate is a domain that is right now feeling the pressure. What is it that you've learned from your competition not to do? What's your strategy?
So basically, I'm the MD of Godrej Properties. We are in the business for last 30 years. The critical thing which we have, differentiated from our competition is the choice of model. So most people in real estate industry have been buying land and then developing on that. As an organization, we were very clear from day one that we want to enter into joint ventures. So that's a very, very different strategy. What happens in a joint venture model is that the capital deployment is much lesser compared to an outright purchase, because if you're buying land for, say, for 200 crores, in a JV you can do 7 to 8 projects with the same amount of capital. So that's one major differentiation which we have been working on, and it has really helped us during this downturn, because we have a diversified portfolio and the capital deployment has been much better from us. The second critical thing which we have learned is most people have tried to diversify into multiple cities in India. Real estate is a very local business, so there have been not too many success stories of pan-India real estate companies. We have very consciously understood what are the various things which are required to be done to become pan-India player. So we are following a very differential model in our strategy of going pan-India, and I can say that basis our strategy right now, we have focused on the top 4 metros, and we are running each of these businesses almost like a local business with some framework or risk management from the center. So we are trying to become the pan-India player, but with a very localized strategy.
Fantastic, Mohit. That was very well put. One is doing JV, so the risk of owning the land and not being able to service the interest, so capital costs being kept low, and judicious choice of geographies and focusing on the 4 cities. Of course, you're blessed with the Godrej brand, so that is another advantage which you naturally get. We'll come to that in a while. Rajesh, you come from the farm equipment sector. What are the trade-offs you're making as we speak?
Good morning, everyone, and it's good to be here with you. Thank you, Anurag, for having us on this panel. Well, there are 3 types of choices that we make, and I'm talking about our farm equipment strategy holistically. One is what type of customer to serve, and here I'm talking about land size holding globally. The second is which markets or countries in the world to participate in. And the third is which crop cycle or which part of the crop value chain should we participate in. So these are 3 kinds of choices that we make in our business. In the first one, we've kind of consciously decided that we will have a cutoff on land size holding which we will address. So there are, for example, in US, very large size farms, but we don't compete in that segment at all, and that's very conscious. We compete in the less than 100 horsepower segment right now, and we managed to get to a number 3 position there. So we are a very well recognized brand and known to be a specialist in a certain segment, so that's a very conscious choice. The second is a decision on which geographies, and then we've identified 10 to 15 countries, 10 as the priority over the next 3 years, where we would have an on-ground presence, which means we will invest like we do in India in building brand, channel, and production, product development capability on ground in those countries. So that's the second part of choice, which is where will we invest in and which markets will we treat as on-ground presence. The third is which part of the value chain, that's the crop value chain, we will focus on. And can't share all the choices, but one which is in the public domain is the rice value chain. And to enable us to become globally strong in the rice value chain, we've done the acquisition of Mitsubishi's agri-machinery business in Japan. And that kind of allows us to build a center of excellence for rice value chain, where we will do all the product capability building out of Japan to address various global markets, which was part of point 1 and point 2. So really it's about choosing and making choices and not trying to be everything to everyone.
Fantastic, Rajesh. Very well put, very well articulated. Himanshu, as I said, you play in the industrial economy. Your customers are hotels and so on and so forth. What are the trade-offs you're taking right now?
As rightly said, Anurag, Sealed Air is in the business of primary packaging, food packaging, and the institutional hygiene. Now, these are 3 distinct businesses having a common thread as the economy moves across borders and there's a trade, movement of people and movement of goods and food across the world, they all tie in together. Let me take some examples of trade-offs from our diversity business, the diversity care, which we call the cleaning business. Now, when you say cleaning, somebody would say, okay, what do you clean? Oh, can you help me clean the roads? Wait, that's not my business. We are involved in internal cleaning. We are focused on cleaning and hygiene. One question I get very often is, how's the Swachh Bharat helping you grow? Now, Swachh Bharat is more about waste management, open defecation, which is not our space. Our space is to create public places more hygienic. Hotels, hospitals, increasing the food safety at the restaurants, improving the efficiency of large public spaces like airports. So we made a clear choice that we are not playing in external areas, we are playing in internal areas. One. Second, what distinguishes us? The chemistry is not a rocket science. What distinguishes us is our people and an attitude of finding that chemistry working for you. Chemistry in action, not just on paper and a proposal. So what we find is stands us apart is an impeccable level of service we deliver, which is not only offer a solution, but also to say, this will work for you in this way and ensure its reliability.
Customized, localized.
Ensure its reliability. So it's a bit of a sharp distinction, but in an area where technology is not the biggest differentiator, your differentiator is the people who deliver that solution and who customize the solution to meet the specific needs of the customer.
Fantastic, Shivanshu. Mr. Singh, you come from the experiential economy. Today, most of us are, seeking experiences. How has this kind of too many choices in the experiential economy impacted your strategic imperatives or trade-offs?
Our business is in leisure hospitality space, Mahindra Holidays. We are 20 years. The choices that we have made, particularly as far as our customers go, we are serving families who want to vacation regularly, and we are very clear that we are not in the business hotel segment. The key issues in hospitality industry are debt and occupancy. We have taken a conscious call that our business model, which is a vacation ownership model, both the OPEX and CAPEX is funded by the customer. It's a subscription-based model. So these are the trade-offs that we have made early on in our business. Our occupancies are upwards of 80%. So both on the customer side and on the business model side, these are the trade-offs we ended up making. And going forward, we are very clear that with the advent of these aggregate players like Airbnb or the others, we will be deepening our experience, and the experience that we deliver to our members at our resorts, the variety of experiences, and to each members of the family, experiences tailored for them. Because that is what will set us apart going forward.
Personalization. Are you saying personalization?
Yeah, personalizing the experience is anyway a part of the strategy, but what I meant was that family holidays for 3, 4, 5 days in our resorts. It's not like a business hotel.
But how does this mindset of moving from ownership to experience changes your business? How is it changing the fundamental basis of your business?
Yeah. So the fundamental of our business rests on the fact that people have paid upfront, and there is a subscription amount that we pay. So they obviously expect more when they walk into the resorts, our resorts, with their families. And what is critical for us to constantly refresh the experiences, not only for the adults, but also for the kids. And therefore the resort becomes a destination. So for us, that's key. And that's what really sets us apart from players like Airbnb.
Now, one common question to the panelists is, and we can start with you, Rajesh, and then we can talk about strategy. And as Michael said, the CEO is the chief strategy officer. His or her job is to make sure that you stay true to that strategy, you refresh the strategy, and you make sure it's implemented downwards. There are regulatory changes GST is one of them, demonetization happened. Today, if I talk to a promoter, if I talk to a CEO, the single biggest thing on his or her mind is how to deal with a new environment, how to make sure that your compliances are in order. So how do you make sure in this new, evolving, compliance-led business mindset, you stay true to strategy? So are compliances in some way getting you to deviate from your strategy?
I'm not sure I have the question right, Anurag, so let me give it a shot and correct me if I haven't got all the elements of it. I'm kind of breaking your question into two parts. One is a concept which we've kind of been talking about quite a bit recently called non-market strategy. And very often we spend a lot of our time on what's market strategy or business strategy. So that is defined to include customer, your vendors, your competitive environment, all of that. So we engage a lot of our time in that. But if you look at it as concentric circles, then just beyond that, you have government, NGOs, media, and various other stakeholders who are not within the realm of your normal business strategy. And increasingly, not just in India, but as we globalize and we're going to many parts of the world, we've just gone to Turkey, we realize that non-market strategy is going to be a very significant part of what we need to engage with as a part of our strategy process. And we are now all working to bring non-market strategy as an integral component of the overall strategy, because unless we build a very strong non-market strategy connected with the overall business strategy, we're going to be missing many elements of the kind that you're talking. So I think that's one part of what you've said. The other, I'm kind of taking the word out as compliance and statutory. That I'm
and
taking
let's
that
say GST to make it simpler.
Yeah, I'm not going to engage in GST impact on our tractor business if you're leading me there, but I think as a part of the Mahindra Group, we always are most committed to compliance and statutory compliance standards and the highest standards of corporate governance. So everything that we do, that's a kind of overriding value in the organization, and everyone in the organization works around that. From a GST kind of standpoint, it's a change event which I think businesses have been wanting for a very long period of time, and I think it's going to be a very good enabler to the future.
You know, Mohit, continuing the same vein, RERA, how does that regulatory change the strategy, or it doesn't change your strategy?
Yeah, so it's a great question. See, any of these changes, whether it is on compliances, RERA, GST, are basically environmental changes which would either pose as an opportunity or a threat to a business. If I look at RERA specifically, it's been spoken a lot about, it's a major regulatory change which is happening in real estate industry. And for organized players like us, who are already engaging in extremely good ethical practices, this is an extremely welcome change. So the big change which we feel that would happen in real estate industry is a large-scale consolidation of players because of RERA, because the compliances required for RERA are extremely tough. So that gives us a huge opportunity as an organization to scale up and pick up market leadership in the market. So for us, it's an extremely welcome change.
It's an opportunity.
It's a huge opportunity.
It aligns with what you've been doing in the past.
Absolutely, it's a huge opportunity.
Himanshu, again, you are part of a large MNC. For MNCs, certain ways of doing business are hygiene, being compliance neutral, so to say. Is hygiene. But has the environment in last 8 to 10 months in some way changed your strategy or impacted your strategy?
To me, I think environmental changes in a way test the robustness of your strategy.
Fantastic.
Is your strategy a function of, is your strategy built around arbitrage, which is to take an example between two market differentials and trying to take advantage of that, which can be one approach to doing business, but that cannot give you a sustainable competitive advantage in a business. So to me, like Mohit just said, RERA can be an opportunity for some and threat for some, depending upon how your business model was placed. Similarly, any change in the environment, whether it's a GST or the way we are being taxed or the cash handling and things like that, can be both a stressor or an opportunity. The way I see it is, your fundamental strategy, if it is competitively, if it is robust enough, will not get altered in any way. It will only tune itself a little to that changed reality. Like for me, a change in GST or a tax regime doesn't change anything.
Fantastic.
To me, the demonetization did not change anything because we do not do any business.
So you're saying your strategy needs to be consistent,
Yes.
and we are consistent. That's
Yes.
what I hear.
Yeah.
Mr. Revankar, would you like to respond to the fact that strategy needs to be consistent?
Yeah. One thing is strategy need to be consistent throughout to have a customer experience. We are being monitored by RBI because being financial services, and they are our regulators. And probably the kind of compliances what we have is much more strong, and we need to be compliant. See, from the borrowing side, from the investors who are investing in the money, and the bankers who are providing us money, they are all well read, well educated, so they have total information, and compliance becomes easy when you deal with the borrowing money. But when you lend money, we lend to a lot of individuals, and there we need to give them all information in vernacular language, talk to them, and service them as per the RBI's expectation. So that is a challenge, and these challenges like the demonetization, a lot of our collection used to be in cash. We used to collect more than 1,000 crores per month in cash from as a receivables from the individual operators. And we have to shift them, we have to educate them to move on to digital or check. It became a little challenge. But okay, now the cash is coming back, and not much of issues are there. But there is another challenge of not receiving more than 2 lakh in a cash for us. So these are the compliances issues which we need to adjust our business. I think, I don't say business model, the way you conduct the business and educate the customer. So these are all the small things which we need to do, but being very consistent and communicating with the customer, we should address the issues.
Fantastic. By definition, strategy is long-term. Of course, you can calibrate it to the environment, but Mr. Singh, I want to ask a question leading up to what Michael Porter said. He said, strategy is about leadership. And if we had to say strategy is a synonym for leadership, what are the 2 or 3 lessons you can learn about leadership and strategy from, let's say, Donald Trump or Narendra Modi? You can take your pick.
Very interesting question. I would say that if I were to talk about the lessons that one has learned in the area of leadership and strategy.
Specifically from Modi or Trump?
Yeah, I'm coming to that. As far as Modi is concerned, I will come to Prime Minister Modi. I think he is consistent. Over the last 3 years, there is consistency in whatever he is doing. He certainly is reformist. He has shown that through the actions like demonetization, GST, which is coming. And there are various other schemes that have been launched, which is about whether it is Swachh Bharat, whether it is Make in India, whether it is Skilling India. There seems to be a drive to change things, and status quo is being challenged. So to that extent, this is the fundamental of leadership, steering the nation towards a new India, which I think is the contours of which are now emerging. If I were to look at Trump, I think we don't understand him well enough, but he
doesn't understand himself well enough. So that's okay.
He seems to be inconsistent. That's something that is coming out clearly. And one thing that we may want to probably learn from him actually is that he's raising some fundamental issues which plague American society. Now,
so
how is he
playing by
going to
new
deal with
rules?
that?
Let's say playing by new rules.
Yeah.
You know, I'm here. Himanshu, because we want to keep to the time. Leadership or strategy lessons from Modi or Trump?
Okay. I was just wondering whether you're going to pass this question around. And one simple lesson is do more, talk less. And I think that's a direct...
You are saying this to whom? Trump or Modi?
Trump.
Okay.
So I'm saying Modi is in direct contrast to Trump. less conversation, more
Absolutely.
one-sided,
Fantastic.
compared to a conversation, too much of a talk and controversies, and less of the effort
But
on
Donald Trump said he'll come and do an immigration ban. He came and did it. He's actually following through on everything he said. So in some way, he's implementing exactly what he said.
He appointed people and he sacked them a few days later. So let's.
Yeah, Rajesh.
I'm not going to repeat a lot of what Kavinder said, which I agree with. I'm talking about Prime Minister Modi, but I'm just going to add one facet, which I think is a very good leadership lesson, which is the Man Ki Baat that he does. And I think that's a very good way to connect and share his ideas directly with a very large mass of Indian population, where he is communicating. And I just want to build on that as a specific skill set which leaders should have, which is you may have a strategy, vision, and a lot of work going around to try to make it happen, but you still need to communicate very frequently and consistently with your team. So I just want to add that as a facet.
Both to internal and external stakeholders.
Yeah.
Mohit, this is the trick question I was telling you about.
For Mr. Modi, I think there are a couple of lessons which I look at him and learn. I think the number one thing is ability to energize. You know, when he came into as a prime minister, the country wasn't doing very well, but he could really create energy and bring out the positive mindset about reform. So I think that's a very good thing, because the mind frame is very important. Second thing which Kavinder also spoke about is consistency. So he's been very consistently saying what, and he's been doing exactly what he's been saying. Third is about, and I think not a strategy point, but most important point is about executing. It's a very, very tough thing to execute in an organization. Imagine executing at a pan-India level, and the recent reforms like GST, RERA, these are very, very tough reforms to execute. So I think huge learnings for all of us from Prime Minister Modi.
So you're saying strategy needs to follow through with equal quality of execution. That's what we need to learn from Modi. Mr. Revankar?
Yeah, Modi he has been very consistent, even though in the first 1 year probably we were not very sure about what he's going to do. But most of the policies which we have been trying to form or reform over the last 10, 20 years, he is continuing. He is not trying to depart and trying to be something different. Maybe he's a true politician, because politicians are normally have consistency in what they say, because they have to go back to the people again. And maybe Trump is more of a businessman. He can change his decision as and when he wants. So typically a businessman does.
He's a pragmatist. He said, he joked about Obama kind of bending to the Saudi king. He went and did that because he had to do a defense deal of a huge magnitude. So he's a pragmatist. A strategist needs to be a pragmatist. My last question, and we'll close that with, give us one leader or a book or both that you look up to for strategy. It can be any leader. One leader that you look up for strategy, or an organization, and give us a book that you would like to recommend to this audience. Yeah.
Sure. I look up to Jeff Bezos. The way he's driving Amazon, and the way he's taken Amazon not just being a e-tailer to Amazon Web Services and various other diversifications of Amazon, and he's fundamentally driven by customer experience. And that, to me, is something that we all should learn about in our own respective businesses.
Fantastic. Scale and consistency. We're just wrapping it up, Amit.
I would call Elon Musk a serious disruptor, looking way ahead of the times, in a different way. When the electric vehicles were really expensive and they didn't make any sense, he got into that. And today we are talking of them being phased out, the non-electric vehicles being phased out in 6 to 8 years, across the world.
Yeah, he knew Donald Trump would win, so he wanted a way to escape from US. That's what he is. He's a futurist. Rajesh?
For me, it would be Indigo Airlines. I think they have followed all the right principles and building blocks of strategy. Very, very good choice making. They've stuck to their plot. Very clear positioning. and that's now allows them to get higher fares than even jet. So,
Fantastic.
So it's no longer a kind of low-cost airline tag which one may have started them off with. So I think very, very good strategy and execution building blocks. The book would be Third Machine Age.
What's the book?
The Third Machine Age.
And who's written it?
I don't remember right now.
The Third Machine Age.
Yeah,
Good.
but it's talking about the new world and how we are going through the third machine age, and I think it's very interesting.
Mohit?
For me, it will be Steve Jobs from Apple, because the way he has disrupted various industries and actually ability to create a very scalable business by charging a huge premium. That's a huge inspiration for us.
Mr. Revankar, you have the last laugh.
I think I have to repeat Steve Jobs, mainly because he was very consistent in not trying to be like Microsoft or not trying to be like Sun or HP. He wanted to build a platform, and that platform he built so many products, whether it's iPod, iPhone, everything with consistent matching experience for the customer. So customer loyalty was so strong with him. Even today, people stand in a queue to buy the first iPhone.
Fantastic. So he revolutionized the category through design and innovation, and stayed true to that design and innovation thread. Thank you for being a great panelist. I hope you had real practical takeaways from this panel. Please give Rajesh, Mohit, Himanshu, Mr. Revankar, and Mr. Singh a big round of applause. Thank you.